I have one question. Is there any difference between saturated fat in meat and saturated fat in dairy? Aren't they the same thing?
No, they're not the same. Let's see. If you take saturated fat from meat and you throw it in a glass of water, what happens to it? It congeals, floats to the top. If you take saturated fat in dairy and throw it in a glass of water, what happens to it? The fat does not float to the top. Why is that? The saturated fat of the animal fat is C16, C18, palmitic and stearic acid. The saturated fat of the dairy saturated fat is C15, C17, odd chain. It's metabolized differently in the liver, uses a different pathway. And the second thing is that saturated fat from dairy has on it a phospholipid head, which basically keep it polar so that it stays in solution in water. And that's why milk does not have to be shaken like cream does in order to get into solution. So that phospholipid turns out to actually be metabolically healthy. And the data shows that the more dairy saturated fat you consume, the less chance for heart disease and diabetes. For decades, we were told to switch to skim milk, but that was ill-advised. That was a disaster. More than ill-advised. It was actually detrimental. And the reason was because skim milk tastes like dishwater. So what did they do? They added chocolate or strawberry. Well, sugar, of course. If you get into a standard school today, what do they serve? They serve chocolate skim milk. And the dietitian at the school says, we got to get them to drink the milk somehow. Yeah, how about putting the fat back on it and stop adding sugar? Haven't you harmed enough the metabolic health of children? Look at the obesity levels in children and adolescents. To wrap up, whole milk is a net positive, nutritionally speaking, and skim milk is a net negative. And 1.5 fat milk is also a net positive. Even cream is a net positive, as long as you don't add sugar to it, but that goes without saying, right?
So can I have a glass of cream a day?
Well, you could. I don't know if you would want that, but you could. Certainly the keto enthusiasts do that.